This is the Dave Elliott Show.
There we go. Good morning. I have so many buttons to push here this morning that I couldn't get them all straight. But I got them all straight now, so we're good to go. And I apologize for that little squeak you just heard there. Joining us this morning in just a minute is going to be Reg Buxton, the publisher of Life in Naples magazine and the former Naples City Councilman. Later on in the show, we're going to talk with our buddy Jim Watkins from Cape Coral, a radio mentor of mine and an old-time friend. And we're going to talk about the allure of living in Southwest Florida. We're going to talk about movies, and we're going to talk about TV. So that'll be coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. But right now, I want to say good morning to Reg. Reg, we're expecting some rain today, I guess. Yeah, I guess we're going to get some rain.
Well, you know, it's Florida. It's Florida. It's August. It's rain.
I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
So what's on your mind this morning?
Well, first thing on my mind, you know, and I normally don't do this, but you know, I'm very involved in government and charities and everything like this, and I just been sitting back and thinking, no, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything. And I figured, no, you know, I am. We've got, I don't know, last time I looked, somewhere between 8 and 10 people running for the District 19 congressional
I think
seat.
there are 9 of them, so you're right.
9. Yeah, and some of them are after the Civil War, they would have called them carpetbaggers, I believe.
Yeah, there are people who've come into town from 2 that I know of. I don't want to mention any names.
Nor do I.
But 2 of them I know of. One came from New York and one came from, I think, Illinois. Am I right about that?
Yeah.
And they came here because they see, hey, there's an open seat. Maybe I can get elected.
Yeah. So, yeah, maybe I can serve these people. I don't know who the people are, and I don't know what the problems are, but boy, I'll tell you what, if you elect me, I'll be your guy or lady or whatever, you know. So anyways, shortly, you know, we do a lot of charity stuff. That's actually why the magazine was started. And in these charities over the years, and I don't mean just, you know, lately, but, you know, over a few years, one of the candidates I just see is doing a lot here. And, you know, everybody goes to Washington, D.C. I don't care who you are. When you're the first term there, you're not the most powerful guy there.
Oh, no, all freshmen are, you know, they're plebes.
You know, and they treat you as such.
Yeah.
You know, you could own a huge company and somebody say, hey, bum, get over there and sweep the floor. You know, anyways, but, you know, I got to know Jim and Julie Overweiss for a while through charities, you know, like Turning Point, NCH, Henry Chafin, Veterans Foundation, and, you know, and the Everglades. And, you know, they've always given back and they've always been involved. So I'm thinking, I think this Overweiss guy, because we all know when they go up there, they're all going to have the same juice, you know, like not much for a while. But Jim does so much here, and he can only do more here by being up there, because at least he'll be able to say something every once in a while. So I just figure, looking at all these people, I would be very happy, and I would think others would be too if they voted for Jim Overweiss for District 19.
Now, how long has he been in the area? Because
16 years.
That's funny, because I had not heard of him until this election.
Yeah, well, you know, and
has he been keeping a low profile?
Yeah, well, you know, most people that do this kind of thing, don't buy full page ads and say, hey, by the way, you know, I'm supporting Everglades, or I'm supporting Turning Point. You know, you just do it, and the people that are involved and the people that understand those things, they know who they are. And you know, when we first started doing some things, and somebody would find out that you were giving money, then somebody come up, you know, listen, I got to save the Worm Foundation. We really need some money. Well, that's great, but I'm not worried about worms. You know,
I'd be worried about worms if I were you.
Yeah, you know, but you know, so that's just my 2 cents worth. You very seldom see me go out and do these kind of things.
That's very true. You don't. When you told me yesterday you were going to talk political, I had no idea what you were going to say.
Yeah, So, anyways, I just wish him well. I think he'd be best for the counties. So, what else we got, man?
There's a lot going on with the election right now, as you pointed out.
Yeah.
Every ad with most, I would say 90% of them are all saying the same thing. I'm the biggest Trump supporter in the world.
Yeah.
That's all you're getting. I want to hear from people what they're going to do for us.
Absolutely.
I mean, and not just the elite. We know the rap. We know illegals. We know democratic socialists. We know all that. But tell me something that will benefit me in my everyday life. Because when I wake up in the morning, the last thing I think about is democratic socialists or immigration. To be very honest with you.
No, I agree.
I'm thinking about how am I gonna pay for groceries if you're on a fixed income, or you're on Social Security, or you're on retirement. In some cases, you may not have enough retirement, and you may be saying, well, I'm going to have to choose between eggs and cereal this week.
Yeah, and the thing is that most of those people had retirement that, as they looked at it under the current conditions, and even with things changing somewhat, still had money to live as they wanted to live. But then, you got insurance went crazy. Nobody's fixed that yet. I don't think they'll ever fix it until the insurance guys don't talk to the elected people. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then you got, taxes, a lot of these things that people are saying are right. Now let's look at the sheriff's deal. Most sheriffs are against the increase in the homestead. Okay. I mean, oh my God, we won't have any bullets. We'll have guns with no bullets. We'll have squad cars. We won't have gas, this other kind of stuff. And a lot of these people are saying, well, we're down. We're going to be down deputies and everything. There's a lot of federal programs out there where you hire the person, feds pay for them the first couple of years. Not all the time. I'm talking, in law enforcement, and then you add them into the thing. All I know is that our local sheriff, Kevin Rambos, guy I went through leadership with, guy's been a friend of mine for 35 years. He said it'll work out. I don't know.
Well, Grady Judd up in Polk County calls the property tax proposal ludicrous. Other sheriffs are against it.
Yeah.
And now the title and the summary of the property tax cut proposal has to be redrafted, according to a Leon County Circuit judge, Monday.
Yeah, which is, I'm sure that this guy's an expert in those kind of things.
I don't know, but he somehow felt that he needed to make this ruling, and he said it was misleading.
The word goes out along the judicial system. Who wants some press, and who wants to say that something's got to happen to this? And there's always people hanging. Remember, judges are elected. Remember that. So,
judges are judges.
Yeah, well, yeah, So I'm not knocking them. I mean, we kind of need them to run the legal system, but look at the office of the presidency. Some judge in East Poughkeepsie can say, "I don't think that you should do this," and it shuts it down, even though the Supreme Court stepped in, Mr. Roberts and his group, and said, you guys got to stay in your own lane. Well, their own lane seems to be the interstate highway, So.
I know. I mean, at any rate, it looks like the title and the summary are going to have to be redone. And one of the rules regarding the amendments to the state constitution is that it has to be a single issue. It has to be clear and concise in the description, and it can't use language that would be designed to make you vote for or against it,
or against it
overtly. In other words, it has to be neutral language. So apparently, he felt that it wasn't one of those things.
Yeah. Which is interesting. Why would some of the legislature all of a sudden use the Constitution and the rules of the Constitution to be against something? Because if you look at the Florida Constitution, and you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, I've already got it.
One thing that those people have to do is pass a
balanced budget.
And the last 3 years, this year it took an extra 60 days, last year an extra 30. So it's interesting. Well, I'm going to use the Constitution here, but over here, that's just kind of interesting stuff.
Well, we still have a constitutional amendment that doesn't allow pregnant pigs to be penned up. Did you know that? There's an amendment to the Florida Constitution that pregnant pigs must not be penned up.
I'd like to know who put that forth, because that'd be somebody I'd have to set across.
I think it was bitty Porky Pig.
Oh gosh, that's beautiful. Everybody thought, if you remember, when the marijuana went on the
ballot,
and it did not pass the first time, if you remember.
Well, medical marijuana did not pass the first time. No. It did pass the second time.
Right, and so I guess what I'm saying, that was as big a thing among the whole populace than this is right now that we're talking about
recreational
the homestead exemption.
Oh, you're talking
about the second time it passed, and that's what I see here probably, because the gray army, the older people, are going to come unglued, because every month there's less and there's more, and you go to the grocery store and it's kind of like watching a race. Something that was $9.99 last week is now $10.49. Well, and in 2 weeks now it'll be $10.99.
A study I saw yesterday said that since 2019, grocery prices have gone up 33%. In the last 7 years, 33%. Prior to that, in the previous 8 years, grocery prices went up 6.4% over 8 years. So beginning in 2019, which was, of course, pandemic time, we saw these dramatic increases in grocery prices. And now, 7 years later, they're still a third higher than they were when the pandemic started.
Yeah.
On the other hand, my wife paid $1.46 for a dozen eggs the other day.
What, did she get them out of a chicken coop?
No, she got them at Publix.
Wow.
That's like 14 cents an egg. I mean, now we're talking.
Yeah, I mean, we all remember the egg deal in the presidency. Your eggs were $8-9 a dozen, and we got them down to $4, and everybody jumped up and down.
I don't know.
The egg wars. Only in a democracy can you have something called the egg wars.
What was the highest price that eggs were? I don't even know.
I don't remember. I do remember the number 8 or 9, but they may have went higher than that.
I'm sorry. I stand corrected. My wife just texted me and told me we got the eggs at Aldi.
Well,
so there you go.
Bottom line is you still got them for
$1.46 a dozen.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good price.
That's pretty good. And eggs are talk to nutritionists. Eggs are good.
Well, now they're saying that eggs are very good for you. As a matter of fact, the story that I heard is you should have a couple eggs every day.
Yeah. So
scrambled omelet. Who makes the best omelet in this town? I know what you're going to say. Shula's. Right?
I only eat breakfast one place, so.
And that's at Shula's. I know where your table is.
Yeah, but it's always good there. I guess there's a place called the Omelet Place or something like that everybody talks about. That's good. That's I'm a creature of habit, which in my previous business would not have been good, because somebody would have known where you've been, and then if they didn't like it, they could have done something about it. But,
I see.
Yeah. So.
Well, that's all I got.
All right.
I think it's going to be a brief one this morning, unless you have something you want to expound upon a little bit.
Well,
one of the things that I did notice is that there's more news coverage regarding rental prices in Southwest Florida. You've probably seen them. Tim and I had a nice conversation about this yesterday. And apparently there is some downward pressure on rents right now.
Yeah, I saw something. It was 28 for a 2-bed, 2-bath, and now it's like 21.98 in the new ones. Of course, the new people got this investment there, and they want to fill those places, man. I mean,
but Tim made the point, and I think it's a strong one.
Okay.
That a lot of these people are in it for the long game. So
yes,
they're not going to necessarily know that they have to fill up every unit upon opening. People will move around. They'll look for the best deal. They'll look for the best location. They'll look for the best amenities. And then they'll every time the lease comes up, there'll be pressure for them to move to some new spot.
And if if you're if you're living in a 4,000 square foot house and all that kind of stuff, you're not moving too much. I mean, it's a huge deal. If you're living in a 1,300 square foot apartment, and you're probably younger, the idea of picking your stuff up and moving so that you'll save a couple $100 or $300 a month or something, no big deal. Like you said, they'll move.
I did it when I was younger, but back in the 80s, I was moving because the place I was living in that I was paying $350 a month for, I could get a bigger place for $10 a month less. And I would move.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, you get your buddies, you say, hey, guess what? We're moving. Oh, okay.
Yeah, bring your pickup over, Bill.
Yeah. By the way, don't come without your pickup. You know, and some gloves because, yeah.
Now, speaking of this, there was a story in the Miami Herald yesterday about how many people are moving to Florida and where they're coming from. The number one state that was a donor to the state of Florida was New York. And the number one county in Florida they're moving to was Miami-Dade.
Somehow that makes sense.
Collier ranked 15th in terms of destinations for the first half of 2026, with about 5,000 new residents moving into Collier County in the first 6 months of the year. So that would be, now this is strictly from out of state, mind you.
Right.
And they got this by checking driver's license applications to see who had updated their driver's license to the Florida license. So if you figure that means our in-state immigration is going to be around 10,000 this year, coming from out of state.
Yeah.
Add to that whatever people are moving here from some other place in Florida, and I would estimate, just this is a ballpark figure, I have no way of knowing, 12 to 13,000 new Collier County residents probably this year. Does that seem like a high number or a low number to you?
Seems to me that it's low.
Low. So I'm wondering, I believe the number of people who moved to Miami-Dade in the first 6 months of this year was something like 15,000 people.
Okay.
From out of state.
From out of state.
Mind you. So is it possible that we're seeing a bit of a slowdown to Southwest Florida, and might that not be a good thing so that we can get caught up a little bit with infrastructure?
It'd be nice.
Yeah.
It would be nice. Now, the flip side of that is that government's got to use that time judiciously and correctly instead of saying, well, it's slowed down, we don't need to do much.
I would agree with that. But oftentimes what happens is the government says, well, things are slowing down, so we'll just slow down.
Yeah.
We still are going to need roads. We know that the population is going to explode at some point.
Well, we're going to be 400,000 people in Collier County by late 28.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're at what, 350, 360 right now?
Yeah. I think maybe a little closer to 4. I could be wrong. I'll double check that and have it next week.
Okay.
But and we're gonna have a whole lot more of that. I mean, look at what 10,000 homes get approved here, and 1,000 homes get approved here. Now they're not built yet, But somebody that's thinking about doing that, they're not doing that because they want to build a ghost town.
No, that's true.
I mean,
That's very true. Yeah, we saved that for the Wild West.
And what we've done finally, I'm by no means, I'm almost a belonger here. I've got 35 years in here, I don't know what the number is, but I get closer to it every year. But when people came here and they stayed and everything was good. Okay. Then we started moving out, and what we forgot to move out there is we forgot to move the dock in the box. We forgot to move a school, and all these things are when these communities jump up. I mean, you can put 1,000 house community up and in 3 years sell it out. And then you got that. So you got, as you said, you got the roads. Well, geez, this is a 2-lane road. We have a 4-lane road. And the people there say, well, I think this is a great house, but where do I get my groceries? Or if my kid's sick, where do I go to the dock in the box? So you got to get those things kind of all flowing together. So once it gets done, then that also does another thing. It takes the heat off of where people got to go. Nobody wants to drive 20 miles to get their groceries, unless they're hungry and there's no other thing to do.
It's often said, though, that you got to have the rooftops before you have the business.
That's true. But you got to remember, the rooftop, you could buy a piece of land and start a rooftop tomorrow. Okay, in theory.
Yeah.
You can't wake up today and say, tomorrow we're going to build a road from here to here.
The planning. Yeah.
Well, you got to plan, you got to own, you got to do it. There's all the moving pieces and everything. So what I'm saying is, you're absolutely right. But once there has to be plans to have something going on to the rooftops so that they kind of meet somewhere. So,
I get it.
But, other than that, it looks like we're going to have some wet weather for a while, which is good. That's what we're supposed to do in August, is have a lot of rain. So
it's amazing to me, maybe not to you, but it is to me, that we are in August, the wettest month of the year.
Yeah.
And we're still talking about being in a drought.
Yeah, I was talking to a weather person the other day, and the normal for August is like 10 and a half inches.
Yeah.
And if we get that, we're still going to be, I think they told me 4 or 5.5 inches down, which is a lot.
Yeah.
We know we're not going to pick it up in September and October and November. Weather is interesting. And I don't mean that sarcastically.
The new report on El Nino is that we are going to see a milder than normal winter and a wetter than normal fall and winter because of El Nino, this super El Nino that's out there right now,
which
the
is
most
for
powerful
there,
one in 100 years.
It's real.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, it's a real deal. It's also going to reduce the number of severe hurricanes that happen in the Atlantic basin, which is always a good thing.
Yeah, I don't want to say I'm in constant contact, but I talk to these people all the time, and they talk to me. But it was 16, it's now down to 9.
Named storms.
Yeah, named storms. Maybe less. I don't think it'll be more. But like I always say, if there's only one storm, and it comes here,
yep,
or wherever, the East Coast or wherever, then to that area, that was a bad year.
That was 100% for them.
Yeah, I don't see, and I'm not going anywhere. So anybody wants to, if that happens, wants to yell at me, I'll be here. I don't see any 4s or 5s. I'm talking Cat 4s or Cat 5s.
Because of the wind shear and
because of everything going on.
Yeah.
Now the later you get and the warmer the Gulf gets, our storms here tend to come late September, October.
Yeah.
And
well, look at all the I named storms: Irma, Ian, both late in the season.
And the thing is the normal storm comes off the African coast. It messes around out there. It says it's going to be something. It breaks up. It says it's going to be something again, and it stays something. it gets in the stream and it heats up and then it comes at us. Most of the storms in the Gulf on Monday we could say, well, this is pretty cool, and on Wednesday we could say, well, there's
holy crap, it's coming our way.
Yeah, there's something out there, and they say, this is going to be a tropical storm by tomorrow, and could be, and then by the time it gets above Tampa Clearwater, headed up there to the elbow of the state, it's a Cat 1 or 2, and the water is fish are getting mad because they're getting cooked living at home, and by the time it hits the shore, it's a 3 or a 4. You go, holy crap, man, we didn't have that a week
Where the
ago.
hell did this come from?
So that's kind of the difference. So, but I stand by what I say, man.
All right.
So,
well, I'm with you on that. No argument
all right,
there.
buddy. It's always good talking to you, man.
You too. And don't forget, everybody, to pick up a copy of Life in Naples. The new August, September, October edition is out. And
I have, back when I was on city council, we had a huge thing with the citizens of the city of Naples hated gas leaf blowers, because at 8 o'clock they woke me up. Well, what are you doing? What are you doing sleeping at 8 o'clock? But anyways, I led the fight along with Michelle and the mayor to do away with gas-powered leaf blowers and go to electric. Okay. And that, of course, cut way down on the noise, and everybody was in love. Okay. Now, the state this year, in one of the things they said that no, you can have gas. In fact, and they overrule what the city does.
Yeah. So, nothing like home rule.
Yeah. Home rule. Yeah. Well, careful of he who rules. Take care, buddy.
All right, buddy. Take care. Reg Buxton, publisher of Life in Naples magazine, former Naples City Councilman, here on the Dave Elliott Show. And I heard from, let me see who this is. I don't know. There's no name on the text, but we got a text from a listener who maybe will be kind enough to send me his name or her name, saying, last week at Aldi's, 3 to 6 eggs a day. Per my doctor, by the way, they show milk at $2.16 a gallon on a little photo he took. He says, I do 3 yolk, not salad, over easy, poached. The yolk is cholesterol, the white is protein. Been doing it for 20 years. I take no drugs, no medication. And he says, I'm 85 years old. Not only that, but he's texting his old pal Dave at 305-699-2665 and listening to us on YouTube. Who says older people can't figure out computers? Well, I'm an older people, and I figured it out. In fact, I'll tell you what I've done. I've made it even easier to listen to the Dave Elliott Show right now. Oh, it's my good friend Doug from Fort Wayne, Indiana, listening this morning. Doug, always a pleasure to have you on with us, and I love the emails that you send me all the time. I love it. By the way, what I've done now is I have embedded our live show at daveontheair.com. So now it's even easier to get to it. If you've already found me on YouTube and it's working for you, don't change anything because it's going to stay that way. Nothing's going to change if you're already listening to us on YouTube. But now it's even easier. You go to daveontheair.com. You click on, you open the website anytime before the show starts that you want. And when the show starts, it will automatically pop up on your screen with a little note at the top that says we are live now. You can click to watch, but it will also pop into the screen with the video and the audio right there. How is that for cool? So now it's even easier than ever to find the show. You can also check us out on Instagram and Facebook. I post a reel on Instagram every day. And yesterday, I posted a question of the day. It was different from the impossible question. It was a question of the day. And the question of the day was, how far back is back in the day? And we had a few responses, which I will pass on to you in a few minutes. But more to come. Jim Watkins will be with us live from the metropolis of Cape Coral, and we hope you will be too when we continue on the Wednesday Dave Elliott Show.
You've got Dave Elliott.
Have you finally found your dream home, or are you looking to refinance or pull equity from your home? Then call Alpha Title Services of Florida. Don't let fraud or hidden property issues, such as liens, unpaid taxes, boundary mistakes, or a cloud on title, to name a few, ruin your big day. That's why you need Alpha Title Services in your corner. They do the deep digging to complete your contract conditions and assure your title is clear in order to provide the ultimate protection on your family's investment. Before you sign on the dotted line, make sure your future will be truly yours by contacting Alpha Title Services at 239-260-1495. To protect your dream, let your realtor or lender know you choose Alpha Title Services of Florida to handle all of your closing needs. Trust the people who have been serving the real estate community since 1999. Trust the people you can call to ask questions before signing your contract. Trust Alpha Title Services of Florida. Online at alphatitleservices.com or call 239-260-1495.
Hello, this is Melissa Blazier, your Collier County Supervisor of Elections, with an important message about the primary election. All vote-by-mail ballot requests from previous years have expired, and voters who wish to vote by mail in 2026 must renew their request. The deadline to request a ballot for this upcoming election is 5 p.m. on August 6th. Please visit colliervotes.gov or call 239-252-8683, 239-252-8683 to request your ballot today.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. The Alzheimer's Association provides care, support, and research to help you take control of the situation with your family and manage the disease together. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
You took the first step and quit smoking. But even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
When Dave talks, his lips actually move. Dave Elliott.
And welcome back here at 7:33. Yesterday on Facebook, I posted the following question. How far back does back in the day go? You've heard this one. Back in the day when we... I remember when dinosaurs roamed the earth and I had to walk 6 miles uphill in the snow to school and 12 miles uphill in the snow home. Well, I had a few responses, a couple of the better ones. How far back is back in the day? One person, Glenda, wrote from the 40s on till now. And somebody else wrote 20 to 30 years ago from your present age. So my question to you today, from yesterday's question of the day. How far back is back in the day? You can text us at 305-699-2665, 305-699-COOL, if you think you want to weigh in on this little snarkiness. We when we post our reel on Instagram, it also goes to Facebook, so you can find us there as well. And I am reacquainting. I will have to say that I was off Facebook for a number of years. And I decided to go back on because I wanted to touch base with some people that I hadn't talked to in a while. And sure enough, we're connecting. I heard from Mary yesterday. I talked to my friend. I texted back and forth with my friend Ron from California, whom I hadn't talked to in a couple of years. And so it's great to remake those acquaintances and connect with people and find out what's going on in their lives. So how far back is back in the day? A little something for you to ponder this morning. As I mentioned with Reg Buxton, the title and summary of a property tax cut proposal to be placed on the November ballot contain political rhetoric and are misleading and must be redrafted, according to a Leon Circuit Court judge late Monday. He ruled on this, I think it was Monday evening. He said voters are entitled to a fair, clear, accurate, and non-misleading ballot statement to assist them in making their critical determination. That's Judge David Frank, 18-page ruling. The present ballot language would deprive the voters of the opportunity to make a meaningful decision, he said. The proposal was drafted by Governor Ron DeSantis, who has toured the state slamming the spike in property tax revenues over the last 6 years by local governments. The measure increases the homestead exemption. That you get that automatically right now if you're homesteaded, $50,000 off your valuation. Next year it would be $150,000. And then the following year that goes to $250,000. So obviously that means if you're paying a property tax based on the value of your home, the home value is probably going down because of the increase in the homestead exemption, so you'd pay fewer taxes. But before passing it, the GOP-led legislature changed the measure to carve out the portion of property tax bills that pay for public schools from the increase in the homestead exemption. A spokeswoman for DeSantis did not immediately respond to a request looking for comment from the Sun-Sentinel newspaper yesterday. The ruling is considered to be a win for the groups that initially brought 3 different lawsuits against the proposed amendment before they were consolidated into one case. Among those who brought the legal challenges, Save Our Voters from Misleading Ballot Language. Let me see if that spells anything. Save Our Voters. Sav Famub. Sav Famubble. That's what that spells. Sav Famubble. It's a nonprofit formed to challenge the proposal. Thomas Campenny, former mayor of Stewart, and Michael Davey, former mayor of Key Biscayne, former U.S. Rep. Al Lawson of Tallahassee, and former Senator Jeff Brandes of St. Petersburg were all people who brought the legal challenges. But the victory doesn't mean the measure will be tossed from the ballot. Under state law, if the ruling isn't appealed, Attorney General James Othmeyer has 10 days to rewrite the ballot summary in line with Frank's instructions. Also heard from Joni this morning at 305-699-2665. She says, love the new format. I just click on YouTube every morning and you're already there. That's it every morning. Joni, you are my personal hero. Thank you. Thank you for the comments. We appreciate it. And again, a reminder, you can now find us even easier. Just go to daveontheair.com if you haven't already figured this out. We just launched this morning. With daveontheair.com, you can also see the show live right on the website without ever having to go to YouTube. And furthermore, every morning, it will archive the show when I'm done, and it will be available for you also on daveontheair.com to listen to later if you can't listen to it live. We had so many requests when I was doing the radio show. Do you have a podcast? Do you have a recording of the show? Well, now I can say we honestly do, and I hope you enjoy it. Please tell your friends, family, kids, dog, cat. I'll take anybody I can get. Even that neighbor you had a feud with back in Dubuque. Tell them to listen. Maybe it'll bring everybody together. Who knows? Well, having trouble figuring out this economy? Who isn't? Man, one day it's up, one day it's down. You don't know what to expect. Well, McDonald's is also having trouble figuring out the economy, according to a report from NBC News. They reported their slowest U.S. sales growth in over a year, McDonald's that is, as its value push fell pretty much flat with customers who continue to struggle with higher prices. Who can afford, a fish sandwich when you can make your own for a tenth the price? Overall, U.S. customer count declined. Company executives said it provided too many value offers, including a $3 and under a menu and $5 bundled meal deals that ended up muddling the chain's message to people who are as hungry for bargains as they are for convenient food. CEO Chris Kempczinski said in a statement yesterday, "We simply didn't execute at the level we needed to in the second quarter." You would think a company with those kind of resources, probably top-heavy on management and marketing people, would have figured out that if you have too many things out there, people aren't getting the message. It's like I tell people who want to make a radio ad. Don't try to be all things to all people. Don't try to put every single thing about your business in your ad or your TV ad or your radio ad or your newspaper ad. Don't put every single thing about your business in there. Put in the 3 or 4 things that you want people to know. Because if you go more than that, the message gets confusing. So the same is true in marketing a restaurant. If you've got 27 different value things, first of all, you're in the drive-thru lane. The people behind you don't want you reading the menu board. They want you to pull up, order your Big Mac, and move on. So I think I can see where they made their mistake. Despite widespread reports of resilient U.S. customer spending, the economic landscape is considered to be pretty uneven, with low-income households still facing acute affordability issues. Fast food spending in particular has taken a hit, as establishments known for offering value have been forced to compete with rising food and labor costs, and despite a relatively low unemployment rate, wages have barely kept up with inflation. Mickey D's also shook up the top ranks of its U.S. segment. Sky Anderson, a longtime McDonald's employee, will take over as president of the division immediately, although the company called it a planned transition. His predecessor, I'm not sure if Sky is a he or a she, but anyway, predecessor Joe Erlinger, who held the job for over 6 years and often served as the face of McDonald's in TV news segments, will be an advisor through early next year. So apparently they're going to rejigger their marketing message and try to get people to respond based on a little clearer indication of what stuff is going to cost. 305-699-2665. That's the number to text or call if you want to weigh in on something. I don't have a call screener. I'm the call screener, and I screen the calls live on the show. How's that for taking a risk, huh? So if you want to reach me and you have a comment or a question, or you just want to have a conversation, you can do that at 305-699-COOL, 699-2665. I picked a Miami number because the way I got my number was not the conventional way, and the closest I could get was Miami. But I figured, you know what? Nobody pays for long-distance calls anymore. Long distance, when it comes to phone calling, is basically something that doesn't exist if you think about it. You remember back in the day, you see how cleverly I pulled that off? Back in the day. Dad, Grandpa's calling long distance. Hurry, get to the phone. It was like 35 cents a minute. It was expensive. Who could afford that? Now it's pretty much free. And as long as we're talking about food in restaurants, how about Cracker Barrel? Have you been following that deal? Cracker Barrel Old Country Store's comeback gained another major twist Monday as the company announced that CEO Julie Masino will step down a week after raising its financial outlook and touting strategic moves aimed at strengthening the brand following last year's rebranding fallout. Remember when they changed the sign, the logo, and everybody went just completely ape snot over it? Just went crazy. Oh, you can't change the sign. That's woke. I don't even know what that means. Masino, who has led the Tennessee-based restaurant chain since 2023, will step down August 10th. That's next Monday. And be succeeded by David Deno, who is the former CEO of Bloomin' Brands, the people who are responsible for Outback Steakhouse. Masino will remain in an advisory role through October 9th to help with the leadership transition. On July 20th, Cracker Barrel announced that it had completed two major strategic moves designed to strengthen its core business while raising the profitability outlook for fiscal year 2026. They completed a sale leaseback transaction involving 26 company-owned restaurant locations. That generated about $77 million that it plans to use to reduce debt. It also sold most of its Maple Street Biscuit Company business to a company called Biscuit Belly and said it will close the remaining 16 Maple Street locations, allowing the company to focus more heavily on Cracker Barrel. I wonder if Mr. Deno is going to try to redo the logo because he'll run into problems if he does. Our sale leaseback transaction will allow us to opportunistically reduce debt while monetizing a portion, blah, 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 blah. The bottom line is it's a business. They want it to continue to be profitable. So new management, I guess they waited long enough for Ms. Masino to retire so it didn't look like she was being kicked out because of the disaster that became the rebranding of the company. I frankly don't get why it was such a big deal that they changed their freaking logo. I mean, honestly, who really cares what the logo looks like as long as the food tastes good? You get it? I'm sure people would be equally outraged if the Golden Arches disappeared, right? And became like the golden concrete barriers or golden balls or something. I don't know what. But honestly, to get upset over a logo change, it's just stupid. Sorry. If I offended you because you were upset about the logo change at Cracker Barrel. Last time I ate there, the food was pretty darn good. That's all I care about. And if you are a reality TV fan, which I tend to be, we like to watch the home improvement shows on HGTV. We're very fond of all the HGTV. My favorite I have two shows that I really like. One is Renovation Aloha, which, as you could probably tell, is house renovating in the Hawaiian Islands. And it's hosted by husband and wife team Kamahai and Tristan Kalama. And I've been following them on Instagram, and they're really, really interesting people. They're very sort of philosophical and spiritual in a certain way, and they really have a kind of a holistic approach to remodeling homes. Every home they remodel, when they're completed, his father comes in and blesses the home. He brings his ukulele, sings a little song, he gives a little prayer, and they bless the home. And I think that's pretty quaint. But now there is bad news for one longtime HGTV personality. Her name is Nicole Curtis. Maybe you've heard of her, maybe you haven't, but she had a show called Rehab Addict, where she went around to places in Minnesota and Michigan, primarily Detroit, found old homes, restored them to their previous glory, and then moved on. Well, now she is in hot water again. She's being sued, along with her company, Detroit Renovations, LLC, by, of all people, the city of Detroit, which knows something about lawsuits, which alleges she failed to maintain and restore a blighted house in the city. The civil nuisance abatement lawsuit alleges the property has continued to be a public nuisance despite Curtis and her company receiving multiple code violations in 2021 and a 21 court order requiring the home's renovation. Curtis obtained ownership of the property in 2021 after litigation with the Detroit Land Bank Authority, according to the Detroit News. At that time, Wayne County Circuit Judge Timothy Kenny deemed the 1921 American four-square-style home a danger to the community and ordered it to be refurbished. Since then, the city has cited the owner for failing to repair or replace damaged, defective, and missing exterior features, as well as failing to repair the roof and gutters, among other special violations. Overall, the city claims the property has never been brought into compliance, and then it's caused further deterioration. So this poor woman just can't catch a break. She got busted, not legally, but busted by the media after a video surfaced of her uttering the N-word while filming Rehab Addict 2 years earlier. Specifically, she blurted out the word fart, followed by the N-word, while standing on a ladder installing wiring. After realizing what she'd said, she immediately asked for the moment to be deleted. She said, "What the F is that I just said? Nick, you got it. Can you kill that?" Curtis is heard saying after uttering the phrase in frustration. So anyway, the video got out, and now she's in trouble. You know, they're just people when it comes right down to it. And they make mistakes, and they sometimes make really stupid mistakes. And because they're in the public eye, their stupid mistakes become very, very public. Somebody who is disappearing from the public eye, and some say just disappearing altogether, is Ariana Grande. Have you heard about this? Sunday, she announced that she'll be taking a step back from visibility, her words, not mine, suspending her future appearances after her current summer tour ends. The pop star had just released the music video for her latest single, Pedal, which showed her always petite frame ridged with shadows of the bones of her chest. Fans, critics, consumers of celebrity news were alarmed. They said she's too skinny. A representative for Grande declined to offer further comment, but anyway, her announcement, delivered by a representative to People magazine, is unlikely to stop the discourse about her thinness and health, which has been going on in one form or another since the singer, now 33 years old, was a teenager, and for other people in the public eye, far longer than that. A representative for Grande declined to offer further comment. No one outside Ariana Grande's personal circle knows the reason, if any, that she appears to have lost weight. Her health is private. Her image is visible everywhere. The space, I guess you could say, between what you see and what she knows is a big gap, and it's filled with speculation and with arguments, frankly, about whether it's right or wrong to speculate. She looks anorexic to me. She does not look healthy. And you think back a few years, 43 years, believe it or not. I cannot believe it's been that long ago that Karen Carpenter died at the age of 32 from heart failure. brought on by anorexia and bulimia, fans by the thousands that watched her dwindle away over the years. And they don't want to see the same thing happen to Ariana Grande. I mean, I'm looking at a photo of Karen Carpenter, and she was just emaciated. So I don't want to pile on and say one thing or another about Ariana Grande, but she's fighting a battle, and she needs to get that taken care of. Buc-ee's. You love Buc-ee's? You ever been to one? I've never been to a Buc-ee's. Never been to one. I heard they're tremendous. I think my daughter said she stopped at one on her recent foray to and from Cape Cod. Well, days after being taunted by Last Week Tonight host John Oliver to sue him and HBO, Buc-ee's has filed a lawsuit against a corner store in Ohio. According to a federal lawsuit filed on July 28th, Buc-ee's is suing Beaver's Mini Mart, a small corner store located in the middle of a neighborhood in Beaver Creek, Ohio, a suburb of Dayton, for more than 2 decades. You see, it's been around 20 years. It's called Beaver's Mini Mart because it's in Beaver Creek, Ohio. The Cincinnati Enquirer reported that despite the Mini Mart having no gas pumps and being miles from the nearest interstate, Buc-ee's says its customers may be confused by the Mini Mart's logo, which features, of all things, a smiling beaver standing tall next to the store's name in a red letter font. Vic Boparai has owned the Mini Mart for more than a decade, years before Buc-ee's first expanded out of Texas in 2018 and long before it opened its Ohio first store north of Dayton in April, according to the Enquirer. The news outlet also reports beavers are a popular figure across all of Beaver Creek. Hello, it's not called Muskrat Creek, with numerous businesses and even the local high school featuring different versions of the rodent on their mascots. I don't know why they would sue a small business like mine, Boparai told the Enquirer. I have 2 kids, and this store is how I feed them. I think this lawsuit's going nowhere. Beaver Creek Councilman Zach Upton was equally shocked when he heard the Mini Mart was in Buc-ee's crosshairs. He told the Enquirer the lawsuit is an overreach of Buc-ee's desire to protect their brand. He said, common sense is not prevailing. I can't imagine anyone would be confused by the Mini Mart and Buc-ee's. It's not even in the same ballpark. The July 26th episode of Last Week Tonight, John Oliver detailed Buc-ee's penchant for suing small businesses whose logos feature cartoon animals, even when they bear very little or no resemblance to Buc-ee's famous and trademarked grinning beaver logo. Oliver ended the episode by daring Buc-ee's to pick on a company its own size and position its show and network as a potential target. Buc-ee's loves to sue other companies, particularly those with animal mascots, he said in the episode, noting the chain has filed over a dozen lawsuits over the years and threatened more. He also points out that Buc-ee's has won almost all the cases because the other companies usually opt to settle and redesign their logos or just fold completely because, as Oliver points out, most just don't have the resources to fight a company this big. Oliver goes on to quote one legal expert who said Buc-ee's should be careful with this strategy because the more you sue these smaller companies, the higher chance you might run into one who has the means to fight back. And that is where we come in, Oliver said in the segment, because as it turns out, we very much have the will to get into a fight with Buc-ee's. So during the segment, Oliver reintroduces Mr. Nutter Butter, a 7-foot-tall squirrel mascot originally created for a 2017 segment taking aim at former Coal executive Bob Murray, which resulted in an unsuccessful defamation lawsuit against the show and HBO. The show created a cartoon logo of Mr. Nutter Butter that looks similar to the Buc-ee's logo and put the logo on a variety of products, including tumblers, hats, shirts, onesies, bags, mugs, pajamas, and other stuff. The items are available for purchase for a limited time at buckoff.com. I'll let you write your own joke there. Oliver says, in the segment with all the profits going to Hunger Free America, a nonpartisan, non-political nonprofit organization working to end domestic hunger. So it's all done in the name of parody, really. 7:59. Coming up in a few minutes, we're going to check in with my good friend, and yours too, I hope, Jim Watkins from the lovely community of Cape Coral, the largest city in Southwest Florida. We're going to be talking about movies and TV and living in Southwest Florida in general. A reminder that you can now find our live broadcast and the last 5 episodes posted at daveontheair.com. You can go right to my website, daveontheair.com, and when we're live, you can watch the stream right there. You can also get it the way you've always gotten it, which is through YouTube. So don't change your habits if you've already figured out how to get us. You don't have to change anything. I'm not going to delete the ability to watch us on YouTube. You'll still be able to do it the way you've been doing it for the last 3 weeks. But now here's another even easier way to do it. If people want to know where to find my show, just tell them go to daveontheair.com. And even if you get there early, as soon as the show starts, it will automatically pop up on the screen, and voila, there we are. The Dave Elliott Show live on YouTube and daveontheair.com. Thank you very much for being with us, and we will be right back.
You've got Dave Elliott.
I'd like to take a minute to talk to you about your hearing, and especially if you are experiencing hearing problems or you've noticed recently that your hearing just isn't as acute as it used to be. Well, the folks at Naples Audiology and Hearing Center can take care of that for you. My friend, audiologist and owner Christine Peacock, and her entire staff are dedicated to one thing and one thing only. And no, it's not the freshly baked chocolate chip cookies you'll find every day when you walk in, but it's your hearing. If you wear cochlear implants, they can help you with that. If you wear hearing aids, they can help you tune them up or get them repaired if they're under warranty, or if you need to be replacing them, they can help you with that too. At Naples Audiology and Hearing Center, they are the experts. They've been around a long time, and it's not this one-size-fits-all thing with them, because everybody's hearing concerns are unique. Naples Audiology and Hearing Center, online at napleshearingcenter.com, or call them at 239-434-2434 and tell them you heard about it on the Dave Elliott Show.
When I smoke weed, I get lost in the music. I like to isolate each instrument. The rhythmic bass, the harmonies on the piano, the sticky melody.
Hey, careful, babe. There's someone crossing the street.
Sorry, I didn't see him there.
If you feel different, you drive different. Don't drive high. It's dangerous and illegal everywhere. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
He's reached that age where his brain goes, you probably shouldn't say that, to, I can't wait to see where this goes. Dave Elliott.
Thank you for joining us this morning here. It's a little bit after 8 o'clock on a Wednesday. Heard from a listener this morning wanting to know if we offer video. Well, because we're YouTube, there is video, but it's not of me or any of my guests or anything. It's just a screen that scrolls. It says the date and the fact that you're listening to me. Jim Watkins joins us right now, and I have to make a little repair here, Jim. Just give me a second.
Okay, that's fine with me.
You can hear me okay, right?
I hear you just great. Can you hear me?
You sound like $1 million.
All right. I wish I had $1 million.
I wish I had.
Nice.
I wish I had $10.
Yeah.
I wish I had Buc-ee's.
Right? Do we have a Buc-ee's? I don't think so. Not in this area of Florida.
Well, there was supposed to be one built in Port Charlotte at some point down the road. No.
That sounds like a good place for a Buc-ee's.
Well, they're not too happy about it because it's in an area that's already pretty busy, I guess. But it looks like it's going to happen. So
what's going on in your world?
Well, my world is full of stuff and nonsense, as always. But you wanted to talk about movies, and I love talking about movies, especially sci-fi movies.
Yeah, I'm really into this Silo thing. Me and my wife are watching because I like Dune. I got hooked on Dune, and I like Rebecca Ferguson. She's kind of
she's wonderful,
interesting actress.
You know,
and
she's Swedish.
Yeah, she's a model or something, right?
Yeah,
So-
and if you listen to if you watch the first season of Silo, you can hear that she's struggling to create an American accent. But now that she's been in movies, she was in a thing, I can't remember the name of it. It was about a nuclear attack. Did you see that movie where she played like a commander in a bunker? No. It was out last year. But now
okay, I have to check that out.
Now she's really got it down, so the American accent is great.
Yeah, it sneaks in there a little bit, but what I like about that particular. Now, let me just.
I love
say,
Silo, by the way.
Oh, do you? Good.
Oh, yeah.
Because to me, it's like the cave, Plato's cave, in one respect. But it's also I don't want to do any spoiler giveaways, but in season 3, what struck me and what always strikes me about certain things is what's the message here, And with that show, which is basically set in the future, where 10,000 people live in a silo underground because something happened to the earth. Nobody knows what happened. All they know is that for 300 years, society has existed underground.
And
it's a great premise.
In 50,
right? Did I miss anything?
There are 50 silos. I'm probably giving away more than we ought to. But there are 50 silos that each contain 10,000 people. And they're built in proximity to each other, but they have no communication with each other. And I don't think they're supposed to know that there are other silos. At least that's my take on it.
That's right. And so the question becomes, in that social pecking order that exists, it's interesting because, a silo goes up and down. And the first thing you notice is the really wealthy people live on top.
Yep.
And the really poor people live on the bottom and do all the work.
In the mines and so on and so forth. Yeah.
And that's the way society is. It's that there's always an existing pecking order. And the people, have you ever noticed you go to any city, where is the worst part of town? It's on the south side. Always on the south, right?
Well, now I lived in a town where the poor side of town, and I'm not making this up, this is absolutely true, was the north side. It happened to be near a cement plant and a wallboard manufacturing company, and there was all kinds of air pollution and dust, and it was a mess.
Yeah. Well, that would be the exception.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's a good story for me, my wife. We love it. Most of it is in the dark. It's very woke because they've got the, multilingual cast, so nobody's left out. I think,
Multilingual? I've never heard anything but English being spoken on the show.
No. What I'm saying is they've got. You
mean a multiracial
couple,
cast? Oh yeah.
The gay couple. They got the gay guy. They
Yeah.
got every race is represented fairly, which is important these days. We understand, but notwithstanding, it's good writing, and that's the thing. If there's a good writing behind it, a good story, I'm in. But if it's not, that's why I like The Walking Dead so much, because it was pretty good. As far as how people behave and all that. So.
I never got into the zombie movies, any of them.
Yeah, me neither. But that one struck a chord because there was that family issue, Rick and his daughter and his wife trying to survive. And I like that sort of a Steven Spielberg spin. And also I thought it was pretty realistic, It makes you think sometimes. You got this.
You thought a zombie movie was realistic?
I thought that the way that they portrayed the events that immediately followed and how, look, we all went through COVID. And how long did it take for COVID to spread around the world?
Well, that's true. I think that Hugh Howey, who wrote the Silo books, there are 3 books in the series, was trying to make a statement about, getting back to Silo for a minute, was trying to make a statement about how people can exist and not exist together. Because, there was, without giving away too much more, there is a revolution that happens in the course of the story. And now we're getting a flashback to 300 years ago, which is actually the present day for us, as to what led to the silos being created in the first place. And I haven't read the books, so I have absolutely no idea where this is going. And that's what makes it intriguing to me. If they can hold that off to the final episode, that would be really cool.
Yeah. Well, I'm starting to piece it together, but again, I don't want to do any spoilers on anything.
Well, we know
there's
some vitamin D plus.
Sure. Yeah,
And that's all I'm going to say.
You're giving away the plot, Dave.
I haven't given away anything. Vitamin D plus. You can buy it in the supermarket.
But it's not vitamin D plus.
No, it's not. It's vitamin D3. That's what we use.
Let's give away a little bit more of the plot.
Did you see Disclosure Day? The Steven Spielberg movie that's out now?
No.
Well, get on the stick, buddy.
I know. I was a big fan of Steven Spielberg. This is what happens. I end up reading other people's reviews, and then it talks me out of going to see the movie.
Well, you should never do that.
Yeah, because I heard, I know a lot of friends of mine that are really into UFOs. And when I was younger, I was really into UFOs. Now I kind of feel like it's where are they? Will they please, if they're here, can the aliens please speak out and show themselves?
Well, they wouldn't be, if they were known, they would be just FOs, flying objects. Or whatever other thing you want FO to stand for.
Yeah. But so anyway, and it was a big setup with what was going on in the government with them releasing the files and everything. And I just felt like it was a way of Steven Spielberg neutering those who really have serious questions about what our government knows and what they don't know.
Well, then you need to see the movie.
The movie neutered that whole discussion. It almost made it look like it was just silly kids play.
Well, don't base your opinion on trailers and reviews.
Yeah, I know.
You got to see it.
It's like Odyssey. I won't go see Odyssey because all the purists of Odyssey claims that the movie sort of ruins the whole meaning behind Homer and that whole thing.
Bart and Marge. Homer, Bart, and Marge.
But I will say this. I am happy to see that people are going back to the movies because I love movie theaters. They were my salvation. They were my refuge when I was a young kid. And it was magical for me to go and you've been to some of these, if you really want to get a sense of what a theater looks like, if you go to Hollywood, if there's still any available, you step inside these places that were built around 1920, 1930, when architecture was something to be
Yeah.
celebrated. And they're just, they're monuments of culture, really. And I started my career, my first job was at a movie theater on Hollywood Boulevard. And boy, it's just these buildings, they're all empty now.
Well,
when they're closed down, they're shut down.
I grew up in Flint, Michigan, and we had two movie theaters. We had the Palace Theater and the Capitol Theater, and they were right downtown. And I remember seeing The Sound of Music, and I also took a girlfriend to see Gone with the Wind. Not that I was around in 1939, but it happened to be on a revival. And we sat in the balcony of these ornate theaters. They held 1,200 people. There were two balconies. The architecture was ornate, and the movie theaters were filled with a plush carpet and the winding staircases and all of that. Have you ever been to Radio City?
I have, yeah.
And you know how that is it's just so damn cool.
It's elaborate. But you probably know this, but maybe your listeners do not. But in the old days, the movie theaters were owned by the movie companies.
Companies, that's right, because nobody really believed in the concept of movies making money for theater owners. And what Paramount in particular wanted to do was own the whole chain all the way to the moviegoer.
Yeah. And that's why they invested so much, because it was part of that experience that they wanted the viewers to have. And so going into the theater was just as big of the experience as the movie you were seeing. And so, yeah, it's an interesting story. And I've often thought about maybe one of my bucket list items is going around the country and looking at all these small theaters that still stand in these towns, because they were built with that same kind of TLC too.
Mm-hmm.
But they were, and now they've been converted into, dollar stores or,
Well, look at the one in Fort Myers at
yeah, right.
What is it?
Downtown.
Yeah, the AMC is going to be converted into apartments or condos or something.
Yeah. Oh, really? Over there off 41?
Yeah,
The
is
Merchants
it
Crossing?
I'm trying to, not Edison
Oh.
Mall, but
Oh, okay, that one. I didn't even know they had a theater at Edison Mall, did
it's
they?
maybe it's Coconut Point. I can't remember now, but it's an
Oh.
AMC
Oh.
movie theater that is closed, and they're talking about converting it into housing of some sort. And by the way, you go into a movie theater today, and it's got 75 seats in it.
Pre-assigned now. That's the other thing they started doing just before COVID.
Reserved seats.
And it drove me nuts, where you had to pick the seat while you're getting the ticket, which is ridiculous because you don't know. First of all, it's dark. You go in there and you can't see the seat. Second of all, you don't want to sit next to somebody. There's a rule. There's a human rule that there's a one-seat rule.
One seat
that we
per person?
all must follow.
One ass, one seat? Is that the rule?
You have to have a barrier, like an empty seat barrier when you go to the movies. You don't sit next to a stranger. You got to have that one seat rule.
I did. The last time we went to see Disclosure Day, I sat right
really?
next to a guy who consistently throughout the entire movie looked at his phone.
Really? How annoying.
I would see the glare out of the corner of my eye.
Well, you should have said, "Hey, buddy, see, this is why you
No,
have
I
the
didn't want to
one-seat
start
rule."
a fight. I didn't want to start a fight.
I see. Well,
And he was pretty annoying.
How much is popcorn now?
Like $14 or something.
$15?
I don't know.
Something like that. Yeah. Soda's like $12. A Dasani water will run you $6. So
You could smuggle
anyway,
it in your pants.
Huh?
You could smuggle the water in your pants.
When you were a kid, did you ever switch movies? Like, did you try to see?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't have
You'd be caught.
multiplexes when we had a movie theater in one town I lived in when I was a kid. It had been abandoned for years, and some guy decided that he wanted to revitalize it. So all he did is he opened the doors, dusted everything off, got all the spider webs out, and would run Saturday matinees and be open Thursday through Saturday night for features. And it was called the Dawn Theater. And it was nasty. The seats were all torn. It smelled like must from the last 40 years. The screen had tears in it. And he would go up in the booth, and he somehow was able to make announcements from the projection booth. It sounded like a tin can on a string.
Yeah.
When he would talk. But nonetheless, that place would fill up on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights to see the features. I saw Blue Hawaii at that movie.
Oh, my. That's going back a ways.
Elvis.
When it first came out?
Yeah,
Was
when it first came out.
1964 or something
yeah,
like that?
about that's
Yeah.
about right.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
well, again, and that old nostalgia. I mean, that's what we're really talking about here is just nostalgia, the longing for a better day, the wish that things could be a little more like they were. And that's why it encourages me. Although, I don't know, it would take a lot to get. I would go see an IMAX just for the experience. I saw Gravity on IMAX with Sandra Bullock. That blew me
Clooney,
away.
Yeah.
Here in town, actually.
I
Not far
saw one of the Star Trek movies in IMAX, and it was pretty spectacular.
Yeah. Yeah. That whole thing, the Cinerama Dome, which is, I think it was either the first or the second 70 millimeter film.
Mm-hmm.
And they had this Dolby new sound. And that has been shut down for about, 10 years, something like that, in downtown on Sunset near Vine.
In Hollywood.
In Hollywood. And they're just now they've got, you know how it is in California, everything is, paperwork, bureaucracy, and they're just now getting to the point where they're ready to open it again. And they're going to build a restaurant around the whole complex. They're going to really do it right. And boy, the memories. I think I saw Space Odyssey when I was a youngster in that theater. It's unbelievable. Apocalypse Now. I think I might have seen the Doors movie. Anyway, just, I know a lot of people share that love for theater like me, so that's why I wanted to bring it up. They said that this Odyssey now, and also Spider-Man, people are going back to the theaters. And I think that's a sign that things are getting a little bit back to normal pre-COVID.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Spider-Man just broke a record for almost hitting $1 billion on its opening weekend.
That's something, isn't
$1
it?
billion. I would have figured by now everybody has heard the Spider-Man story. How many times can they keep re-originating Peter Parker? You know what I mean? I'm kind of over superhero movies, to be honest.
Me too.
With you.
Batman, forget it.
No, I'm done with them.
I'm done. You're a Bond fan, aren't you, James Bond?
I'm not a fan, but I've seen most of the Bond movies.
Well, I have a solution to this whole female Bond question, because, there are certain people in Hollywood or in the film industry that want to feminize James Bond, right? Just make it more appealing, bring that feminine factor. And they're all squabbling over who would be the appropriate James Bond.
Oh, I know who it would be. Rosie O'Donnell.
Well, I have an idea. With all that fooling around that James Bond was doing while he was killing people,
which is what one does.
Excuse me, honey. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I gotta assassinate somebody here.
Yeah, there's a guy sneaking into my bedroom right now. I need to wrap some coil around his neck. I'll be right back. So anyway, the solution is that he probably produced a child at some point with all of these affairs he was having. So it's likely one of them was probably female, and that woman, her name would probably be Jane.
Jane Bond,
in honor
right?
of James.
Exactly.
So Jane Bond, the daughter of 007, and she could be 014 or something. I don't know. But so that's the solution. And now you're not messing with the franchise. You're adding to the franchise, Don't you think that would make sense? Jane Bond, the daughter of 707, taking vengeance.
007?
Yeah.
License to put on lipstick.
License to kill as she's putting lipstick on.
License, let me see. I got to think about this for a minute. It's got to be a one.
Jane Bond.
Yeah, well, there was already a movie like that, G.I. Jane, starring Demi Moore, that took place on the mythical island of Captiva, Florida.
Is that right? That was filmed here. I
No, it wasn't filmed here, but it was. The plot took them to Captiva Island, which in the film version was a military obstacle course.
That's funny.
About as far away from Captiva Island as you can really get. I think they ought to make the next James Bond a guy from Alabama. Hi, I'm Bond, James Bond. I got me some
Tom Hanks,
some chaw.
James Bond.
Let's go murder us a Yankee. What do you think?
Hey, do you watch the news? I'm sure you do. You watch,
I watch
the local news.
Local news. I watch local news and the 6:30 news. And that's it.
Yeah. I'm wondering what's going on. I just was sitting there because I watch the news like you, and I noticed they don't have as many male reporters now or anchors. They got a couple here and there, but the street reporters, the people that go out and stand there,
You know why?
by the road, they're all women. What is that? Is that because they're all like models?
The pay.
The pay? What?
The pay.
Yeah.
Most men won't work
or
for
is it ratings? Do we like
don't know.
watching the news with female reporters more than there studies that show that? I'd be curious.
I think it's that they can't find men who will work for that money.
Really?
I think so. I know that.
How bad is it?
I don't know. I don't know what the numbers are.
Yeah,
but
so I just wondered. Yeah, so.
There's one station that does all Barbie doll girls. All the girls all the women look like Barbie dolls.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's the other station where they just have like regular looking people.
That's probably the one that I watch.
Yeah.
I would like to see more, like having real people do the news as opposed to, people that may have had a modeling career they were considering.
Well, if you want to really get
it'd be funny if you had some fat slob up there with a T-shirt, comb his hair in the morning, reading the news,
smelling bad, smell-o-vision. When I lived in Los Angeles back in the late 80s, early 90s, I was there for 5 years in Southern California. I know you were brought up and raised in Southern California.
Yeah, it sure was.
But there was Uncle Paul, who did the ABC News. I can't remember his last name. Ann Martin. They were just like, he had been around. Paul had been around so long, he had gray hair. Chuck Scarborough in New York just retired a year or so ago, and he was 85 when he retired.
That means the house has been paid off.
But if you look at the major markets now, they have gotten away from the pretty actor central casting type characters, and they've gone to people who just look like normal human beings.
Yeah, absolutely, sure. Why not? I mean,
as long as they're relatable. I mean, what's the harm? I mean, the people sitting at home don't all go to the gym and work out 6 hours a day and put eyeshadow on if you're a man.
Yeah, I mean, look,
I don't even know why they wear suits. Why do they wear suits? Why not just like a open collared shirt?
Why is a weatherman wearing a suit?
Yeah. He should.
Why does Rob Dunn wear a suit? Is there any reason? Take the tie off at least. Weather should be a casual thing,
Well, like sports. Why, when you watch a baseball game, are the play-by-play guys always in suits? Who the hell wears a suit to a baseball game?
Yeah, they should be wearing a jersey of their favorite team, like the rest of us.
Yeah, smoking a cigar and drinking a beer.
Having a beer, absolutely.
Yeah,
and they could have it sponsored. They could have the Budweiser label right there.
Well, it's like Edward R. Murrow did with his Camel cigarettes.
Yeah. Remember good old Peter, what was his name? Peter Jennings. Every once in a while you'd catch him taking a drag, from his cigarettes.
Well, Johnny Carson too. He always had
he
always had a cigarette going on the side, and you'd see the smoke wafting up over the desk.
Sure. But everybody smoked, so nobody noticed back then.
So now we get to talk about what I wanted to talk about.
All right, that was
thank you for that. That was very interesting. I hadn't thought about the evolution or devolution of movie theaters in a while, but maybe they're on the comeback now. Maybe we'll be seeing more ornate, larger theaters. I think one of the things about having a theater that holds 1,000 people is the shared experience is way more intense when you have a lot of people in the theater. When you're in there, and we went to see West Side Story, the Steven Spielberg version that came out a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I think we were the only two people in the theater. Or there might have been maybe two other couples in there. I don't remember. But you hesitate to laugh out loud or to get boisterous or to, applaud or whatever you do in a movie theater if you're the only ones in there because you're so self-conscious. There's something about having a big crowd with you that makes the experience
I think that movie that you went to see was probably not a good example, primarily for the reason that, from my recollection, of course, no one else's, is that it sucked.
I will tell you that
nobody wanted to go see West Side Story. There was nobody asking for Steven Spielberg to remake West Side Story.
Well, I was in West Side Story in high school. And I also went on the road. I also went on the road for 6 weeks as the orchestra conductor for a touring company of West Side Story back in the 70s. It's absolutely
true.
You're
a man of many skills.
I know the music. I understand the concept of the play. I played Tony in high school. And so I have an affinity for the play, and I would go see any version of it just to see how it compares to what I remember.
Yeah.
And I remember being very disappointed in the Steven Spielberg movie. It didn't.
And that's why there was only you and your wife.
Yeah, probably. I think there might have been a stray
now,
cat.
I was in Annie,
there.
Get Your Gun. So do you think that Steven Spielberg ought to do Annie, Get Your Gun and bring that back for laughs?
Did you play Annie?
No, I played the Circus Parker.
Oh, good role. You can be a buffoon in that role.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I wanted to talk about was the allure of Southwest Florida to people. And this came about because yesterday I read a story talking about how many license plate registration changes have been made in the state of Florida from other states to Florida license plates in the last 6 months, and where these people came from and where they're going to. Collier County, which I'm sort of interested in, ranked 15th in terms of destinations in the state of Florida for people coming from other states. You can probably guess what the number one county was.
Lee?
Miami-Dade.
Is that right?
Which is kind of surprising. Lee County was like 8th. And I'm guessing that's primarily two places, Cape Coral, where you live, and Lehigh Acres. Those would be my guesses. It didn't say specifically where in the county they went. But it made me wonder if the allure, if the shine, if the glow is off the rose regarding Southwest Florida being the place everybody wants to move to. What do you think?
You know what? It's hard to. Somebody once told me if you want to know what's going on, people moving, people coming and going, go ask your neighborhood U-Haul salesperson or store, because they'll tell you whether there's more people moving in or moving out, and that is true. And sometimes I know that Cape Coral is growing because I can see where they're developing out. The Burnt Store Marina area is sort of the next growth area, and then you've got down near the extension, Del Prado, and 41. 41 is starting to, you can see they've already started selling off plots near Tucker's Grade. So 10, 15 years from now, I have a feeling there's going to be a whole bunch of new neighborhoods all along that area. So people are coming here, but my wife made a good point, which is then they have a hurricane and then half of them leave.
Yeah, immediately. It's like, okay, that's it. I'm out.
I only need one of those.
What about those of us who've stayed here for 30 years?
Like you and me. Because, I mean, we literally, I think, when did Charlie hit? 03?
04?
We
I was
04?
working.
Yeah, we were here less than a year, and all of a sudden here, I'd never seen that before. I mean, I had, where I came from, it was a 6.2 earthquake, big deal.
You and I were working together during Charlie.
We were.
Yeah.
I remember. And Pete Combs was there, too.
Pete was there.
He upset me. He stole the van.
And it went up to Port Charlotte to do some reporting and blew out all 4 tires and left the van stranded in the middle of the street.
I'm surprised he didn't get fired for that. But
well, you were his boss.
I wasn't going to fire him. He was good.
Yeah, he was damn good. He wound up working for ABC.
He was doing
News.
his job, for God's sakes. That was a big deal. You know, I mean, going out. I mean, they should have hired him for the
You know what I
slot.
remember the most about that hurricane coverage was that every single morning when you and I were doing the show together in the morning, Governor Bush, Jeb Bush, called in to advise people of what was happening with the storm. And he was just so diligent about it. Oh yeah, he called it almost every morning.
It was a madness, man. It was a crazy time, wasn't it? 03,
04, 05 were all just blur to me.
And it was between that time that Cape Coral doubled in size. So I think this growth right now, and this is just my opinion again, I think that all of these large companies like BlackRock and State Street, the ones that are financing the building of all these homes, I think what they're doing is I don't think that they're building all these areas that eventually will be populated, to be sure, but they're also creating a problem for people who want to move or people who want to buy a house because the prices are artificially high. You know, what used to sell for $250,000 now goes for $400,000, and I think that's done a real disservice. And it's not as if we're asking for them to develop out Burnt Store Road or wherever, you know, Immokalee or Ave Marie or wherever the growth is going on. Nobody's asking for them to go in and build these new neighborhoods. They're doing it because they see that people will continue to move to Florida and they can make a buck. But it's all, if you've driven up I-75 and you see what they're building, all these ugly, you know, almost look like, you know, housing projects, you know, and they're out in the middle of nowhere. It's like, well, who's buying all that property?
And who wants to live next to the freeway anyway?
Yeah. Next to a cow pasture 20 miles from, you know, Venice. And, you know, and they're developing out Tucker's Grade, which is strange because that's prone to flooding. You know, that you know, when you're going up 41 and you hang over to get to the 75, and you can also get to whatever that community is.
I'm not too familiar with North Lee County, so I don't know.
Yeah, but it's prone to flooding. So 15 years from now, when they develop all these nice housing and another Charlie comes through, those homes are all going to be flooded. You know? So anyway, if you could tell, I'm not a real fan of growth.
Well, I'm okay with orderly growth, planned growth. I'm not okay with the sort of chaotic nature of what we've seen as growth in the last 10 years, where it's unbridled. Every project is stamped yes.
Yeah.
And then it's sort of like ready, fire, aim.
Yeah.
We figure it out after the fact. You know, Naples just got its second Costco in South Naples. And there's a big controversy over where it was being built and that it was within 500 feet of another gas station, which is not allowable unless you get a variance. And the people in the community that it's adjacent to were all upset about it, and rightfully so, I guess, in some instances. But something was going to be built there. It just happens that it's going to be Costco now.
Yeah,
And
another super duper market, you know, where everybody goes and spends $300 on, you know, 15 pounds of coffee.
there are now 3 Home Depots in Naples. 3.
Wow. That's a lot of building.
One of them,
I mean, on the one hand, it's a sign of a strong economy, I suppose, right?
yeah, but one of them was built at the site of a radio. Remember Wave 101 FM?
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Well, they had a studio down on the East Trail in Naples, and that was sold to Home Depot. They tore down the building and built part of the Home Depot on that.
Well, that's not bad.
And you're
I mean,
also
you know,
seeing
look.
storage buildings everywhere
sure.
and car washes.
Right. I mean, it's, you know, it's not exactly pretty on the eyes.
No, it's not.
No. I mean, how many Mr. Clean car washes do we need?
We don't need any. Hey, I want to remind people about your podcast, Q&A with Jim Watkins. And it's the letter Q, the letter N, and the letter A, right?
Yeah, it won't let me do an ampersand when I
Well,
and
I tried to find it,
right.
and then I did a search, and I discovered it's the letters Q and A, which sort of is like Q and A. Who's your guest this week?
You, actually. I was going to repurpose this interview and just slap it over there on the to introduce you to my audience.
All right, well, do that then.
What do you think?
You have my permission. Are you recording it on your end right now?
No, but I know where I can get it on YouTube.
Yep, you can. All right, well, thanks for hanging out with us, and I know you got a lot of stuff going on, and I really appreciate it. It's a lot of fun to just chit-chat about what's on our minds. It's like a podcast.
The elections are coming up.
It's like a podcast within a podcast.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, Dave, have a next time we get together, we got to talk about the elections, I guess, because the elections are coming up.
I try not to be political, but we can definitely talk about politics. Understand the difference? I'm not going to take sides. I'm not going to advocate for the good guy over the bad guy.
How's that? Let's just be,
do shots of Fireball?
Comment. Huh?
Did you say we do shots of Fireball?
No, I said let's just make fun of all of them.
Oh, I'm all for that.
Yeah.
You got no argument from me on that because there's enough on both sides to definitely get a few laughs.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right. Let's be equal opportunity offenders.
I got it. You got it.
Got it.
Hey, thanks
all right, my friend.
Thanks for joining me this morning. Jim Watkins from the podcast Q&A with Jim Watkins. Check it all out, and I'm sure you will find it to be a lot of fun, and we'll be right back.
You've got Dave Elliott.
Hello, this is Melissa Blazier, your Collier County Supervisor of Elections, with an important message about the primary election. All vote-by-mail ballot requests from previous years have expired, and voters who wish to vote by mail in 2026 must renew their request. The deadline to request a ballot for this upcoming election is 5 p.m. on August 6th. Please visit colliervotes.gov or call 239-252-8683, 239-252-8683 to request your ballot today.
And a minute out for Alice Sweetwaters. It's sizzling summer out there. You can tell just by looking at the steam on the windows in the morning. But Alice Sweetwaters has summer sizzling lunch specials just for you every day from 11 to 4. Mondays, the Smash Burger Beach Break for $12. Tuesday, it's Taco Tuesday for $12. Wednesday, the Dockside Duo, which is my favorite. 3 chicken fingers, 3 fried shrimp served with golden fries, $12. And Thursday, the classic French dip. You'll love it. Don't forget Fridays, the local catch lunch. And don't forget Alice Sweetwaters for dinner and snacks and everything in between. It's Alice Sweetwaters, my favorite place to eat, and yours too, I'm sure, at the corner of Glades Boulevard and Airport Road, diagonally across from the East Naples Home Depot. Alice Sweetwaters, where they serve crabs, shrimps, and big people.
Have you finally found your dream home, or are you looking to refinance or pull equity from your home? Then call Alpha Title Services of Florida. Don't let fraud or hidden property issues, such as liens, unpaid taxes, boundary mistakes, or a cloud on title, to name a few, ruin your big day. That's why you need Alpha Title Services in your corner. They do the deep digging to complete your contract conditions and assure your title is clear in order to provide the ultimate protection on your family's investment. Before you sign on the dotted line, make sure your future will be truly yours by contacting Alpha Title Services at 239-260-1495. To protect your dream, let your realtor or lender know you choose Alpha Title Services of Florida to handle all of your closing needs. Trust the people who have been serving the real estate community since 1999. Trust the people you can call to ask questions before signing your contract. Trust Alpha Title Services of Florida. Online at alphatitleservices.com or call 239-260-1495.
When I smoke weed, I get lost in the music. I like to isolate each instrument. The rhythmic bass, the harmonies on the piano, the sticky melody.
Hey, careful, babe. There's someone crossing the street.
Sorry, I didn't see him there.
If you feel different, you drive different. Don't drive high. It's dangerous and illegal everywhere. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
The impossible question on the Dave Elliott Show.
All right, a chance for you to win a $25 gift certificate to the aforementioned Alice Sweetwater's on Airport Road at Glades Boulevard, diagonally across from the East Naples Home Depot. $25 will go a long way at Alice's, let me tell you, and you'll want to be part of it. So what we're going to do is ask you a question if you haven't won anything in the last 30 days from me. You can win today. So when we ask you the question, we'll give you a chance to cogitate or think about it and then come up with an answer. This is a little tougher today, and I've been trying to think of a clue I can give you, so we'll see what we can do here. Here is the question. 13% of babies born this year will be given one of these by their parents. 13% of babies born this year will be given one of these by their parents. What's the answer? 305-699-2665. 305-699-2665. If you think you know the answer to today's impossible question, and this is a good one. 13% of babies born this year will be given one of these by their parents. Betty Ann, who is always first on the call this morning, says a birthmark. Actually, it's not a birthmark. So, Betty Ann, because it's you, you get the buzzer. It's how did Bobby G get it right so quickly? That's what I want to know. Bobby G got it right, and I'm betting if I ask him, he looked it up, and that's perfectly fine. We allow research on the impossible question, but Bobby G, holy smokes, buddy, you are definitely the smartest guy in town. I figured I was going to have to give every clue under the sun, but he got the answer right. I know I haven't given you the answer yet. 13% of babies born this year will be given one of these by their parents, and Bobby G, who looked it up because he's a smart guy, he just texted me and told me that, said the answer is a hyphenated name, like Billy Bob or Junebug or something like that. 13% of babies born this year will be given one of these by their parents. Bobby G, the big winner this morning on the impossible question. And man, congratulations to you, Bobby. You pulled it off. Smartest guy in town this morning. Thank you for playing. Bobby must be, I'm taking it from your phone number that you come from, and Howard looked it up too. I guess I'm going to have to get more original with my impossible questions. Bobby G must be from near my hometown in Michigan because of his area code. I am guessing. I'm not sure. But anyway, Bobby, you're the winner this morning. Congratulations to you. You get the $25. Yep, I knew it. He's from Grosse Pointe. I could tell. He's got that Grosse Pointe kind of attitude. Grosse Pointe near Detroit. 12 years ago, he lived there. Still got the same. You might want to consider getting a new cell phone number, Bobby. I'm just saying. On the other hand, you've had it a long time. Why bother? Everybody knows how to reach you. Hey, speaking of reaching people, you can now reach us an even easier way than ever before. You can still find us on YouTube the way you've been finding us. But now, if you go to daveontheair.com, we are live on my website every morning, Monday through Friday, beginning at 7 a.m., as well as on YouTube. It's actually the exact same show, but I'm carrying it on the daveontheair.com website now. So you don't have to leave the website. You can just go there, click. And if the show hasn't started yet, it will automatically start for you while you sit there. You don't have to keep refreshing the page. It will just automatically start. And if you miss the show, as soon as we're done, it will be available on replay right below the live window, along with the last four shows prior to that. So there'll be 5 of the most recent shows available right at daveontheair.com. Do me a favor, and I know you will, and do yourself a favor too. Let everybody you know about the Dave Elliott Show, because that's how we get the word out. We do word of mouth. I thought this was worthy of a final story or two here this morning. An 18-year-old silver amulet discovered buried in a Frankfurt, Germany grave, still next to the chin of the man who wore it, has 18 lines of text written in Latin on just 1.37 inches of silver foil. That could be enough to rewrite the known history of Christianity in the Roman Empire. The amulet and the description are the oldest evidence of Christianity found north of the Alps. Every other link to reliable evidence of Christian life in the northern Alpine area of the Roman Empire is at least 50 years younger, all coming from the 4th century A.D. But the amulet, found in a grave dating between 230 and 270 A.D., and now known as the Frankfurt inscription, was made to better decipher the inscription. Ina Hartwig, Frankfurt's head of culture and science, said in a translated statement, "The extraordinary find affects many areas of research and will keep science busy for a long time. This applies to archaeology as well as religious studies, philology, and anthropology. Such a significant find here in Frankfurt is truly something extraordinary. It could rewrite the history of Christianity in the northern part of the Roman Empire." Hard to believe. NFL preseason football is almost here. I think the first game preseason is tomorrow night, if I'm not mistaken. And 'tis the season to test toilets. At NFL and major college football stadiums where operators are gearing up to handle the ultimate halftime rush, yep, they're testing the toilets to make sure they still work after not having been flushed for a while. While annual preseason prep typically involves facility crews systematically inspecting water pressure and sensors and valves zone by zone, the real spectacle happens before a venue opens for the very first time. New arenas host a synchronized super flush, recruiting hundreds of volunteers to flush thousands of toilets simultaneously to stress test the building's main plumbing lines. They do this because of infamous past halftime sewage disasters, and these epic trial runs ensure the system can survive tens of thousands of fans flushing at exactly the same moment. I bet you didn't know that. A company in Oslo, Norway, received more job applications when its help wanted ad read, "Tiresome and boring wholesale company seeks lazy people with a total lack of service-mindedness for a job that is completely without challenge. One of 4 things you didn't know yesterday." Here's another thing you didn't know yesterday. Each year, some 250,000 people around the world are injured by a musical instrument. Go figure. I wonder if it's the same musical instrument or if it's different ones. Like if a harp falls on you, that's one thing. If a flute falls on you, you're not going to get hurt too badly. In 2011, another thing you didn't know yesterday, a 30-year-old Bradenton woman was featured on an episode of My Strange Addiction because she's been eating the foam from her cushions since she was 10 years old. Over 20 years, the woman had eaten 200 pounds of foam. Ugh. And the final thing you didn't know yesterday, the average person will handle fewer than 100 $100 bills in their lifetime. All right, we're out of here. That's going to do it for today. I see somebody said they had a little problem clicking the website, and nothing happened. Well, you might have to refresh the page because I made these changes last night, and you might be looking at an old version of the website. DaveOnTheAir.com. I'm looking at it right now, and we are definitely streaming live there. Have a great Wednesday, and we'll see you tomorrow when our guests will be Kathy Dugan and our good friend Dave Wasson with a high school football preview.